All right, ladies and gentlemen, in this activity, we are going to work on finding gender. We are going to go to stereotypical extremes with this, so please do not interpret what I'm doing in this video as being a normal representation of gender presentation. Again, these are stereotypical extremes, and we're usually going to use these when we're playing for comedy. We're going to begin with male, and the first thing we're going to do is open the feet outward, and we're going to step out a little bit wider than the hips. Tilt the pelvis forward, and I'm going to make sure that my shoulders are nice and open, and that my thumb is going to be hooked into what would be a belt loop. I'm going to lift my chin ever so slightly, and this is going to be our stereotypical male posture. Let's take a look at this male stereotypical posture from the side. Again, beginning in neutral. I'm going to open my toes outward. I'm going to step out wide, tilt my pelvis forward. I'm going to hook my thumb into my belt. I'm going to open my chest, and I'm going to lift my chin. And from the side, this is our stereotypical male. When our stereotypical male walks, his feet are going to move in two parallel lines, and his shoulders are going to be very active, moving up and down, but his hips are going to stay very still. You should not be swaying or swishing in the hips at all. So hook that thumb into your belt loop, take a step, and then after you take the step, drop the shoulder on the same side. Take a step, drop a shoulder. Take a step, drop a shoulder. And then when you smooth that out, you get a very machismo, very aggressive looking, very masculine or stereotypically masculine walk. And if you want to add a little dip on one side, feel free to do so. So let's take a look at this male stereotypical walk from the front. Remember, our shoulders are going to be very, very active, dipping from side to side, but the hips are not going to move at all. No swaying back and forth in the hips, but up and down with the shoulders. So when I take a step forward, on the same side, I'm going to dip the shoulder after I take a step. Take a step, dip the shoulder. Step, dip, step, dip. And when you smooth that all out from the front, the stereotypical masculine walk looks like this. And again, feel free to add that little bounce on one side if you want to. Now I'm going to transition to female. Remember, we are always going to start from neutral. We do not want to carry anything with us into a performance that we don't intend for the audience to see. First thing I'm going to do for female is bring my feet together and bend one knee. I'm going to pop a hip out on one side, and on that same side, I'm going to put a hand on my hip. I'm going to drop my chin down, but I'm going to keep my eyes up facing forward. My shoulders in female are going to stay very still, but my hips are going to be very active with this stereotypical, almost like a runway model walk. Okay. From the side, again, starting from neutral. First thing I'm going to do is bring my feet together underneath my body. I'm going to bend one knee and pop the hip on that side. I'm going to place my hand on the popped out hip that I'm going to start with. I'm going to drop my chin, but my eyes are going to keep looking straight forward. Remember, shoulders are going to be still, but hips are going to be very active in this walk. Women are going to walk a tightrope, or at least the stereotypical woman is. And every time she takes a step, the hip on that same side bounces up or pops out, however you want to think about it. Whereas the shoulders are going to be much stiller than they are with the male walk. Notice that the feet are walking one directly in front of the other. The male was two parallel lines, but with female, the feet are walking a tightrope, one directly in front of the other. And every time I take a step, that hip pops out. Now let's take a look at what this female walk looks like from the front. Beginning in the female posture, every time I take a step forward, I'm going to pop the hip out on the side that I've transferred my weight to. Okay, remember, walk a tightrope and swivel the hips. The shoulders are going to stay still. The chin stays down. Eyes look straight forward. Take a step and then pop that hip. Boom. Take a step, pop your hip. Step, pop. Step, pop. When you smooth it all out from the front, the female walk looks like this. Take that one more time just to see a little more of it. Remember to pop the hip every time you take a step. No shoulder movement. This is a hip isolation as opposed to a rib isolation. There you go. That's the female walk.